Good afternoon, brothers. I'd like to start by expressing my sincerest gratitude to Mr. Tiller, the Foundation Board, the Pike Supreme Council, the fraternity staff, as well as this year's selection committee. In addition, I would like to thank those who have been there for me throughout these past 4 years. First off, my family, and by the time you're all watching this, my wife, for the constant encouragement and support they gave me when I needed it the most. I would also like to thank Gamma Upsilon's Alumni Advisory Board, namely Brad White, David Zentafer, and Bill Vogel, for all their advice and the time they sacrificed for the advancement of our chapter. And finally, my brothers of the Gamma Upsilon chapter, for the friendships and memories that will truly last a lifetime. I am certainly honored and humbled to have been chosen as this year's Robertson Award recipient. And while I wish I could be there in person this afternoon, as Mr. Tiller mentioned, I have a slightly immovable prior engagement today. There are many aspects from my time in Pi Kappa Alpha that greatly enhanced my college experience and will continue to impact the rest of my life. Some of the more obvious of these were promised to me on the first day I was recruited back before my freshman year. Things such as service and involvement opportunities, academic development, and lifetime friends. While these all turned out to be integral parts of my time as a Pike, undoubtedly the most beneficial was the mentoring I received from older members and alumni, without which I definitely would not be addressing you all today. For this reason, as I reflected on what I wanted to share about these past 4 years, I kept coming back to what I learned from one of these men, my chapter advisor, Bill Vogel. I met Bill during the first week of my freshman year when he briefly introduced himself to the new pledge class. We all left the encounter with a powerful statement from him. You are now part of something bigger than yourself. Act like it. Bill has spent the past 50 years doing just that. As a volunteer in various capacities, he has done more for our chapter than any other brother. From heading our housing corps and working with contractors, the university, and our internal housing committee to renovate our chapter house, to meeting consistently with our exec to set short and long-term goals and holding the chapter accountable to them. He was constantly sacrificing time for the betterment of Gamma Upsilon and each of its members. However, it was not everything Bill did, but rather the nature of his leadership that I learned from the most. He is content to operate in the background, often receiving little or no acknowledgement for all of his contributions. As someone who grew up in a social media-dominated culture where we are guided to seek instant gratification and recognition for every little thing we do, this example of servant leadership was something particularly influential and refreshing for me. I believe Bill's version of what it means to be a leader is often overlooked by many of us today, and instead we fall into the trap of looking at opportunities through the lens of how will this benefit me, or what can I get out of this? Ironically, it was not until I stopped seeing things in this light and began to try to emulate Bill's service to others and his fraternity that I experienced the most growth, both as a leader and as a person. I began to see my responsibilities and the tasks on my to-do list as opportunities to serve others, and finally understood what it meant to be a part of something bigger than myself. As I transition from my time as an undergraduate brother, I look forward to taking this lesson with me. Regardless whether it is during my career as an engineer, within my family, or an opportunity to volunteer for Pi Kappa Alpha, I hope to follow Bill's example and continue to serve those around me. In conclusion, when you return to your respective chapters this fall, take some of Bill's servant leadership with you. I challenge each of you to not look at the time you have left as an undergraduate brother of Pi Kappa Alpha as solely a way to augment your college experience, but rather try to find the ways you can serve your fellow brothers and your fraternity. Even the smallest of sacrifices can have a large impact on those around you. Thank you for your time, and I hope you all enjoy the remainder of the academy. Phi Phi Kappa Alpha.